I'm Bill Kincaid. I'm here today at the Caldwell Heritage Museum. I'm here with John Hawkins, the director of the museum. Welcome, John.
Thank you for having me.
And we are in one of the last surviving Davenport College building.
And that's right. This building was built in 1926.
So this is the Davenport College room at the museum.
That's right, the room that we've dedicated to preserving as much of the history of Davenport College as we can preserve.
Hey, John, I have a little drawing here. We'll try to get it on the camera. Take the mic and explain what's what.
Okay, this is the three buildings that were the last part of Davenport College. This building was called Cornelius Hall. It was built in 1914. The building in the center was called Old Main. And then the third building was the music building, and that's the only one that's surviving, and of course the one where the museum is now located.
John, let's talk about Davenport College. Who was Davenport, or was there a Davenport?
Yes, there was a Davenport, but before we can talk about him, we probably need to talk about why the college came into existence. In the 1850s, the story got around that the Presbyterian Church was looking for a site for a girls' school. And so Lenore immediately jumped on the bandwagon and built a building that could be the girls' school. William Davenport, who is a resident of the valley here, gave the largest donation, and which
We need to keep in mind this was 10 years after Caldwell County was organized, formed, what, 1841?
Right, very early in Caldwell County's history, 10, 15 years at most. And Mr. Davenport gave, or Colonel Davenport, I guess I should call him, gave the largest donation. I believe it was $500 toward the building of the school. And they offered it to the Presbyterian Church, and the Presbyterian denomination turned it down. So they offered it to the Methodist Church, the South Carolina Conference of the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church took it, and it was primarily a Methodist institution all the time that it was in existence. Of course, it closed in 1933, or it actually merged with Greensboro College to become a Methodist institution down there.
Okay, Lenore, I think, was chartered by the General Assembly in 1851, so there was some interest. It's amazing that they would put their money where their mouth was.
Right. At one time, Lenore was called the Athens of the South primarily because of Davenport College. But I'm wondering if it wasn't the other way around, too. There had to be an interest in education and seeing that a college was here, or the college probably would not have come. So I don't know. It may have been a chicken, and we don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. I probably also need to mention one of the interesting things about the history of this college is that it burned in 1877, and the town immediately rallied together again and rebuilt it. They did not want it to leave, and again, Colonel Davenport had passed away by that time, but I think some of his family were very strong supporters in the rebuilding of the college. So it was a good thing for Lenore in many, many ways.
Okay, John, let's look over here. We have a picture of J.D. Minnick on a portrait of him. We have a picture of Mr. Davenport. Explain some of these people.
Okay, Mr. Minnick is a very interesting person. I would like to have known him because of the things that I have heard about him. He came to Davenport College in the 1890s from Pennsylvania. He came here as a single man, but very shortly after being here a while, he went back to Pennsylvania, married his sweetheart, brought her here, and they established their first home in Lenore. Now, some of these items in the room were wedding gifts that were given to them or things that they acquired while they were residents here in Lenore. Now, the Minnicks apparently did not have any children during their stay in Lenore. I'm not sure how long they were married, actually, before they had children, but it must have been several years. The family ended up down in the Mount Airy section, and there was a daughter named Ruth Minnick who never married, and she is that classic school teacher that every town has, that everybody had, everybody tried to avoid, but everybody knew who she was. And she preserved a lot of these things. I had the privilege of talking to Miss Ruth Minnick on the telephone some time ago, several years ago, and she told me then, she said, I have already given your museum some of the Davenport items that my parents had, and I have left you some more in my will. Well, she died shortly after that, and sure enough, that's where some of these things came from. The desk that's here is one of the most interesting things I think that we have. It may have been built in a furniture factory in Lenore. The furniture factories were just getting off the ground at the time that Mr. Minnick was here, and I am told by people who know furniture that the way these drawers are put together, that they were only assembled like that from about 1896 to the early 1900s. So that would have been the time frame when they were living here in Lenore.
Now, this was Mr. Minnick's desk. This wasn't a kid. This wasn't for the students, was it?
No, this was not a student desk. It was a desk for the home. Look at all these little cubby holes in it and all the different things, places you could store things and hide things. And I'm told that Miss Ruth Minnick used this as her writing desk till the day she died.
Wow. So this thing is 100 and
It's got to be 100 to 110 years old.
10 years old. Okay, we have a picture here. William Davenport, for whom Davenport College was named. Who's this guy?
Okay, William Davenport was a resident of the Yadkin Valley section. He was a son-in-law of General Lenore. His home, the
General Lenore connection.
The General Lenore connection, right. His home is the Fountain out in Happy Valley. It is still standing. It is a private residence. It's not open to the public. But he was I'm not sure how he got the title colonel, but he was certainly a mover and shaker in Caldwell County, one of the most influential men in Caldwell County.
So was it named immediately, Davenport College?
Yes, as far as I know, that's the only name the school has ever had, and the story is that it was named for him for his generosity.
John, you have a very interesting photo collection, too. Here's another picture, I believe, of Mr. Minnick.
Absolutely, yes. Nice-looking man, isn't he?
And apparently a young fella.
Relatively young, it seems, yes.
Okay, then we have Davenport College, class of 1906.
Right, looks like there's, 7 young ladies there, a small class. Some of those names are familiar. I don't know whether they were local people or not, but...
Yeah, we've had Newlands around here, and certainly Heartless and Harshaw and Blair. I mean, there's several.
And Moores, right. Yes, there's several of them that could be local. Whether they are or not, I cannot say for sure.
And here, this is the modern era, 1922.
1922, young ladies sitting on the lawn, yes. And that is probably in front of Old Main, the building that was, I don't remember ever seeing Old Main. It was probably torn down before my time.
How big did Davenport get, student body-wise?
I'm not sure, Bill. Apparently, at one time, it was a very well-known school. Even in the late 1920s, they added a business department, and a lot of these ladies here that were secretaries for some of the furniture executives got their business training at Davenport.
Right here. Davenport May crowning. Did you ever have a May Day program when you were a little fella? I remember having a baiting back, you know.
Absolutely. I remember dancing the Virginia Reel at Happy Valley School in a May Day program one time. But Davenport did have social events, and May Day seemed to be a big thing.
Well, you can go back in the old copies of the news topic, and they would often reported on activities at Davenport, speech contests and singing and poetry. I mean, they did a lot of stuff.
They had concerts. They were very strong on the music and the arts, elocution, things like that. And they would have concerts, some fantastic programs, and they were always open to the public, too. I've even seen that they performed Shakespeare's plays. So
I've seen those promoted, and it's kind of amazing.
And it's little wonder we were called Athens of the South.
Exactly.
Because we were a cultural place.
John, here are some, they had a yearbook at Davenport.
Yes, I'm not sure of how many years they had it, but they did have several. And these yearbooks are quite interesting. And we have, again, lots of people who come in, want to know if grandmother's picture's in the yearbook.
This is the Galax for
Galax, right.
Galax for 1906.
1906. I'm not sure how many years it was called the Galax, but a number of years it was. And we do have
There's the Mandolin Club.
Mandolin Club, right.
So our love for picking and grinning goes on back, doesn't
It
it?
does go back, right. And there's the officers of the Sidney Lanier Literary Society. Sidney Lanier's poetry is not the easiest to understand, so these ladies must have been very intelligent to name their society after him.
Okay, sometime in here we changed the name of the yearbook to Hilltop Echoes.
Right, it was changed to Hilltop Echoes. I don't know when, but by 1929 it was Hilltop Echoes. An appropriate name since the school's on top of the hill.
And one more picture I want to look at here. Samuel Lander, 6th president, Davenport College.
Samuel.
What do you know about him?
I don't know anything about him except that he was the 6th president of Davenport College.
When would he have been the president?
I'm not sure the time period. The presidents changed. You know, it was, I think I mentioned it was a Methodist institution, and at that time, Methodists rotated their ministers every 3 or 4 years. And I think they did the same thing with their college presidents. In fact, sometimes he would be taken from a church to the college for a few years to serve as president, then maybe put back into the pulpit of a local church.
Who was the president here when Stoneman's troops came through?
If I have seen it, I do not recall at the moment who it is. But there is a connection, of course, with
Whoever it was had to worry they might lose his college.
right, and I think we're very fortunate that we did not lose the school. I understand that the buildings were used maybe for a dorm for the soldiers while they were here, and stories told that they rode their horses in the building. You know, stories get told that we can't verify at this late a date, but it sounds logical.
It sounds logical. They were trying to humiliate us a little bit.
They were trying to humiliate us. You're absolutely right.
Okay, coming up, a plaque, Cornelius Hall, 1914.
Right, that was the cornerstone of Cornelius Hall. That building was torn down in the 1980s. At the same time, this building that we're in now was scheduled for demolition. And Wilmoth Jenkins led a group of people before the school board and asked that it be saved for a museum. And we're very fortunate that it has been saved for a museum.
I was just looking. Our country will never get above our homes. Our girls must make our future homes. Therefore, what I would do for our country, I must do for our girls. Words of the donor, who was Joseph Benjamin Cornelius.
Right, he sounds like he had a good philosophy, doesn't he?
Very good philosophy. Okay, let's walk on down and see what other memorabilia we have here.
Okay.
John, the sign says, organ from Davenport College, donated by Helen Myers.
Yes, of course, Ms. Myers was a graduate of Davenport College, and I don't know how she came into possession of the organ. I think it stayed at the Methodist Church for a few years, and then when we opened, it was given to us, and we're very fortunate to have it. I don't know, it's obviously a little parlor organ. Perhaps it belonged to one of the presidents, or it may have been a practice organ that was used by some of the girls studying organ. I think the college had a large pipe organ. Maybe perhaps it was used for study.
Okay, immediately above are some pictures. And Davenport College had to have been a great place to hang out, especially for young guys, right?
Right, yes. You asked a while ago how large the student body was. If you want to count all those girls on that picture, you may get a little bit of an idea. But it was, of course, that's 28, I believe. And it was a fairly large student body. And look how the campus is so beautiful. And I think that would have been a great place to hang out just in and of itself, the beauty of the campus.
Hey, John, there's some guys sitting to the left down there on the bottom picture. Can you?
I believe that's girls.
Okay, I thought it was some guys. Where's the guys?
I don't believe they let the guys in the pictures with them.
Okay, what is that road or street? That's not college. Avenue.
No, the school, of course, would have faced College Avenue, and of course, that's how College Avenue got its name. I think that's a driveway, perhaps, that went up to the school at that particular time that's no longer in existence.
But even in 1927, I mean, the trees have grown more, but it was still a beautiful place, wasn't it?
Oh, beautiful campus, yes, and I guess a lot of those trees probably have been taken down, or either deliberately or unintentionally, and we've lost a little of that beauty, but we're still in a beautiful spot here on the hill.
I think you're probably the prettiest spot in Lenore. Well, maybe over the hospice area where Miss Margaret Harper was. I mean, Kirkwood. That was lovely.
Those are the two highest hills in town, so yes, it's a nice place to be.
John, they have a football team at Davenport. I see a banner up there.
I don't know about a football team, but I have read about baseball games that were here. I don't think there were. I'm not sure that Davenport had a team itself. It may have been local guys in town, but it seemed to attract the young girls out. And of course, I guess the guys go out and play baseball if it attracted the girls. But that is a pennant, of course, that was Davenport. That's the only one I have ever seen, and despite its somewhat dilapidated condition, we're very glad to have it.
And immediately to the right of that is the Ruth Minnick collection.
Some of that is the Ruth Minnick items. Some of that stoneware also from the dining room at different times. Not all of that is from Miss Ruth's collection.
But this was college material, college items.
This is college items, things that were used in the dining room here at Davenport at some time or another. I think they had a home economics department, domestic science, and probably that would explain maybe some of the elaborateness of some of those things. I think the girls were taught good manners and how to serve food properly and things like that, the things that were the social graces of that time.
I remember when I was in the newspaper business, a young lady, a college student, came up and excavated. They were tearing down some buildings or building more on the Davenport, and she found an awful lot of bottles and stuff that had been used at Davenport College.
Right, we do have a few of those items here, and I'm sure there are lots more of them somewhere else. If she had foresight enough to save them, then I'm sure they're somewhere else.
John, you have a tremendous amount of Davenport College items in this room here.
Yes, and we're very glad that we have these. There's a lot still that we don't know. A few years ago, a lady did do some articles for the newspaper that we have that details the history, but I'm sure we don't know everything, and I'm sure there are people watching who do know things they can tell us, perhaps have pictures, other items that they would be willing to donate to us.
Are there any surviving graduates of Davenport that you know of?
Yes, there are a few still around in the area that I know of. I couldn't begin to tell you the number, but I know 2 or 3 personally. And they always speak very, very highly of Davenport when you ask them about it.
Okay, the room is open to the public, right?
The room is open to the public, as is the entire museum, on Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 4:30 p.m., Saturday and 10 till 3.
And the phone number was what?
Phone number 758-4004. We're located behind the Davenport A+ School. The Davenport A+ School, of course, retains the name of the college, which is very appropriate. And we're located on Vaden Street right behind them, and we'd be glad to have visitors at any time.
And we are in the side, at least part of, we're not the original part of Davenport School, but this was college, but this was added, but this was used as part of the college.
This is the last remaining part of Davenport College. This building was built in 1926, so it was relatively new when the college merged in 1933.
John, thanks for having us up today, and we hope you've learned more about the college, and if you have any memorabilia you'd like to donate or come by and see, it's worth coming by. John's a good guide, and you're an excellent guide, in fact. Thanks for watching.